Sorry, I've come back from New York and I only have Friends and Seinfeld music going on in my head at the moment.
The incidental music in Friends is awesome.
It's really great, and it got better as well.
Anyway.
Hey guys, welcome to That Pedal Show VCQ Monday, the 12th of August, 2019. Dan here.
Mick here, hello. We're in the car again. For anyone who's not familiar with this, Dan and I live about, 40 or 50 miles apart, and sometimes it's just easier to meet part way in the car.
It is.
Car gets a bit steamy, people look at us in a weird way. But we do get to sit and have a cup of coffee, which is quite nice.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
You and your environmentally friendly recyclable reusable cup, me not.
Well, I take issue with that. I mean, made in China on a massive scale, shipped halfway around the globe. Nothing really environmentally friendly about that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, so the show on Friday was 10 ideas for more effective rhythm guitar parts, and blimmin' interesting it was too.
This was much more popular than we thought it would be.
Yeah.
We thought we were going to get slammed for the backing tracks, and people would just be bored. But no, quite the opposite.
In actual fact, yeah. So we must mention Fraser.
Yes.
And he's done such a great job. So, he's young, enthusiastic, ridiculously talented. Yeah,
he won't be with us long.
I'll give him another 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, Fraser is our assistant, and Fraser comes with a Tonmeister degree from Surrey University, so he's a smart cookie, and he's making us backing tracks, probably literally chewing on his own fist the whole time he's doing it.
Yeah. So, loads of you commented on how great the backing tracks were, including David Williams, The Bedroom Rocker, Who Would Want This Name, Mark Price, Ashley Harding, Leah Johnson, Chris Hash, and GVB Jr. says, I'm going to have that bass line in my head all day tomorrow, and that's okay. And M Rock K Roll says, I love the tips, but putting them in context by playing together and using the backing tracks made this one of your best shows.
Wow.
Fun, useful, inspiring. Also, congrats to Fraser, who has produced a bass riff that many of us will be humming to ourselves for years to come. So there you go.
Probably nicked it off some trendy band we've never heard of. If we seem a bit tired this morning, it's because it is Monday morning at like before 9 a.m. In fact, it's 8:20, Dan. That's not bad.
It's not bad.
That's quite good for both of us, I would say. Okay. PGSGBC.
May the Lord open.
Under his eye. Comments, VCQ. First, we were right. Who said keep using backing tracks? I've just bought both of them. Not just good musically, but totally demonstrates the point of the video. Would you ever use wetness versus dryness as a rhythm tool, maybe like the overdrive pad idea, but instead of gain, wetting up those strums to put the guitar further away from the lead instruments or vocals? Would that get too messy? Yes.
Quite possibly. I think you've got my issue with this stuff is that can work depending on the quality of the reverbs.
What he's saying is, would you use, so if you had like quite a relatively dry sound, would you then add a load of wet to sit in the mix? Is what he's saying, isn't it? As a rhythm tool.
Okay.
I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting idea, but
it depends on the part and the track and the song and the context, as always.
Yeah, give it a go. Let us know how you get on.
But if you listen to recorded music, there's always way more reverb and delay on the guitar parts than you ever thought humanly possible. So it's used in recording.
Yeah.
Already.
Listen to some Van Halen on the weekend.
Yeah.
And there's some of that stuff is loads on there, but it's that studio thing where it's done in like with a real plate or a real, reverby room, and it doesn't. Those sorts of reverbs, they're different. They sound different than amp reverb and what we're able to get.
Rick Beato. Watch Rick Beato's video if you want to see some of that stuff broken down.
Yeah. I was deeply uplifted by so many people who said that this was their favourite episode ever, considering that I was like, wow, is this...
Should we even put this
should
out?
we even put this out?
We get that quite frequently, actually, where we record an episode and we're like,
I've got no idea.
not sure about this.
I cannot call them.
Yeah.
So Catherine Faulkner, Chef de Barreto, Davis Stevens, and Dan Bryan, and loads more. So thank you. Thank you so much. Now, we had a question on the Supro tremolo. Paul Harmer was asking that even with his gain right down, there's quite a volume boost when it comes on. Is anyone else struggling with this? I just think it's the nature of that particular pedal, but I think
so few horsepower, so much noise.
What bike was it? Yeah, so the Supro tremolo.
Yes, it does. It adds volume with the gain right at 0, which can be a pain because the minute you step on it in harmonic mode, for example, you just get a gain boost, which you don't want.
Right.
So it is annoying. However, if you're using normal tremolo...
Yeah, normal tremolo, you need that flexibility to be able to add a bit of volume because you do get that perceived volume drop. Yeah, but...
what would be great is if someone had a harmonic tremolo pedal in development that could go below unity gain as well. That would be amazing if anyone at all was doing that. If that was actually happening right now, that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Wonderful.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
It would be amazing.
Who would want this name says... Imagine driving one of those things.
I think that must be the most stressful job in the world.
Really?
You see those things driving around London? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I reckon once you get good at it, though, it's like anything, isn't it? Like plastering.
I do find watching them reverse fascinating.
Yeah, especially the ones that have got 2 trailers.
In Australia, I did these long car trips, and we'd have these road trains that have 4, 5, and 6 of those things.
Really?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Who would want this name says the part about dropping the frequency range of a sound you don't like, such as Dan's vocal. Sorry, Dan. Seems backwards to me. I would think you'd want more of that frequency from your guitar to mask those sounds from your voice. I would expect dropping that out on the guitar would only make the vocals in that range clearer and then more noticeable.
Right. So if you're adding those frequencies, they stack.
Yeah.
And they become. Yeah, and it just doesn't sound great. The thing is, I'm not trying to mask those frequencies in my voice. I just sound the way that I sound, and if I'm singing and that's just it. But what I don't want to do is emphasize those frequencies with the guitar. And I find that, and it's not by doing drastic EQ changes, it's just by being aware that I have this a really annoying frequency in my vocal.
Yeah.
And when I'm singing, if I find that I can have the guitars more present in the mix if I just attenuate that frequency a little bit.
Depends what you're playing as well, because
course.
if you're playing something on the low strings down the bottom of the neck, then you're not going to be anywhere near those frequencies anyway.
Yeah.
But if you play notes
I'm all over it though.
You're just so dexterous.
Okay, Kristen Turpett says, there are not enough videos on this topic. It is in all our interest as musicians and guitar players to sit in with other rhythms in the band and complement the sounds being produced. Thanks for the tips and tricks. Can you do another to expand into recording or live playing? And I thought this is interesting with the recording argument versus the live thing, and how they are such different environments, and what works for one might not necessarily work for the other. So yeah, it's something that we'll look at.
The principles are exactly the same.
The principles are exactly the same.
But live, you're just presented with a whole load of other problems. And the biggest, I think I've commented on this, the biggest problem in a live band scenario is usually not you trying to be conscious and think about fitting in with the rest of the band. It's just a basic communication breakdown with the rest of the band. Because if you talk about this stuff and you actually work on it, you'll find you'll solve it.
Yeah.
The problem is the bass player's got a problem with the singer, and the singer can't really communicate with the keyboard player because they had the same girlfriend 25 years ago, or boyfriend. And it's always communication issues in human relationships that are the problem, not the actual problem.
Right.
Right?
That's very good.
So, yeah.
I was in a band when I first moved to Sydney. I joined this band, and really great musicians. I was 3 months in when I worked out the bass player and drummer don't talk to each other, like at all, ever. And the drummer wouldn't have any of the bass player in his monitor. They just hated each other, and I hadn't picked up on it. And like 3 months of gigging. There you go.
There you go. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, we could do some stuff. Recording is literally open season. We could record a video every week for the next 25 years and not even touch the sides with recording.
Yeah.
So, but live, yeah, maybe. I do think it's a communication thing, and it's about playing music that you all like and can communicate within.
Yeah.
That's the hard bit. Because again, sorry to labour the point, but you know, most bands, 60% of bands are playing 90% of songs they don't like.
That's very true.
Isn't that true? Because the singer wants to do this because it's his wife's favourite song, or her husband's favourite song, or her civil partner's favourite song.
25 years ago.
Yeah. Anyway, blah blah blah. Let's move on. Prav Abe. Hi guys, I'm in a band with 2 guitars. I'm one and the vocalist is the other. That's pretty common, I would say. The issue is when the vocalist starts singing, he stops playing, so there's a massive volume drop, say from when we go to an intro into a verse, so the sound gets thin. At times it's helpful because the vocalist doesn't have to fight over the volume of the guitar, but at times it just sounds meh. I thought about getting a TC Mimic, but I'm not sure yet because of money. Any suggestions? So what can one guitar player do when the other guitar player drops out?
So he doesn't play guitar at all while he's singing.
B.B. King.
Yeah, I guess so. That's a really good one. But he had an army of musicians behind him, right?
I think it's a great opportunity to have dynamic in your sound.
Right. Yeah.
You could definitely use some sort of doubling thing.
What did Rabia do? Rabia did this thing. He had this setup that when he was doing the band with Rob, where he would, when Rob was playing, he'd it was just like an A/B thing, and he'd just turn on when Rob would stop playing. He'd turn on a second amplifier.
Right. Just to thicken it out.
Just
which
to
is
thicken it out.
kind of what you're saying with the Mimic. You could try some washier effects. Jeff Buckley,
A/B box, second amplifier, boom.
Yeah, Jeff Buckley used to do a thing where he'd have his amps either side of the drum kit, and he'd be all kind of massive and stereo, which I guess is similar to the Rabia thing. Yeah, I would see it as a great advantage. One of the problems I have with most bands is they can't shut up enough. They're just all banging all the time.
What are you saying?
And there's just not enough light and shade, so I would use it as a real opportunity. Because actually, if you listen to records, listen to some of your favourite records, what you'll hear is when there's singing, the guitars are so low in the mix, and quite often it's just bass and drums.
Interesting.
You know, it does fall away, and you know, a great opportunity to be able to hear the singing. The other tactic you could try is start singing with him. And annoy him into playing the guitar. Or encourage him to do some stuff that he can do. I mean, if his problem is he can't sing and play, work on that. Maybe just play some sustain chords. That's a whole other world.
Okay, Kyle Milbrandt says, is there any particular reason you guys went with removing frequencies with an EQ pedal for rhythm instead of setting up the amp at a good rhythm EQ and using a pedal to boost for leads?
To make the point.
Yeah.
To show you an extreme version of why it works.
Yeah, and also the, Mick and I both use boosts and things, absolutely, but the idea of taking away things like, you know, with the underdrive and stuff, we're so used to having the space and adding. There's a, just getting familiar and comfortable with the idea that actually there are things that I can do. We can go in the other direction. Yeah, so that's exactly what you said, making the point.
I think the first thing they teach you at producer school is cut, don't boost.
Right.
I think when it comes to EQ and mixing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
I don't know if that's what they teach you on the second day as well, but it is quite a central point of mixing.
Okay.
Dan Jackson says, where do I post a Q&A question?
Sorry, that was funny.
Here, in the comments to the video, Dan.
There you go.
And we'll go through them. Dan did these, and we'll pick out the ones that require answering. Brian Cook, what is a pad and why do I want to get my pads going?
A pad is just another term for like a long sustained chord. If you think, like, lots of keyboard players use the term pad if they hit a chord and it's like a, you know, that's like a string pad or a horn pad or whatever, and they can just hold it and sustain it under the. So when we were doing the thing with the delays, when Mick was had loads of delay and was swelling up the guitar, and it just acted as a pad. Like a long sustained thing. Fabrizio Peretti says Mick is a beast of a player. I'd love to hear more concepts from him. Not that Dan is bad, but I feel like Mick has all the good stuff that I struggle to get good at. Being part of the band, blending with them instead of just sitting in a corner playing my part. Love it. Nice one, guys.
Thanks, Fabrizio. It's normally Dan gets all that. Oh my God, Dan's such a beast of a player. So you've won my ego there.
That is not true. No, it's normally because you do the questions, so you're less comfortable putting those things in about yourself.
Yeah, I guess everyone likes different things in different players and approach and all of that. How do you get good at that stuff? Well, whatever it is in playing, you just play more and you play with people. I find that my playing advances still to this day hugely when I'm in a project with other humans.
Yeah, but you've got to be in a project that pushes yourself.
Yeah.
I think playing more in and unto itself is not the answer. You've got to be playing more with an idea to improve on something, with an idea to push yourself in some area.
Yeah, well, I still even find that just playing a bunch of rock and roll songs in a bar with a bunch of people does more for my playing than sat there trying to practice still.
Yeah.
Because I just rubbish at practicing. I don't know what to practice. Although I have been working on my harmonising the major scale positions thing, which is starting to click.
Cool.
With relative minors. It's quite interesting, actually.
It is very interesting, that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Renzo Calgagno says, Dan's got a lot of sensible advice on playing, performing and creating sounds, but I still have a hard time figuring out their thick Brit speech.
That would be because I'm Australian.
Jonathan Krieger, what happened to the idea of doing a show on metal tones together with Rabia?
Lots of people have asked and commented on getting Rabia back on the show. Rabia, we love Rabia. He is one of the busiest guys in the world at the moment. He's doing, well, there's two big things at the moment. He's doing the frog leap
Thing with Leo,
and that is massive.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And of course he has Tosca, which is just blowing up.
Yeah, he's doing festivals and everything.
Yeah,
this weekend.
you see pictures of him on stage with, many plethora of people going, in the background. So we would love to get Rabia on the show again, and we've talked to. He's totally up for it. We just have to find a way to make it work.
Yeah, just do it. Metal, got high gain, isn't it? I don't like limiting things by genre because it's too narrow for me. But high, the kind of gain tones that me and Dan don't use.
Yeah.
That's what it should be called.
And the thing is, I would love to have a better understanding of those sounds. I'm doing some writing at the moment with Dougie, and there are elements in some of these tunes that would be great just for a couple of bars to have some of those really heavy moments in them. Taylor.
I have a controversial opinion on heavy gain tones.
Okay.
By the time you hear them, they're always massively produced.
Yeah.
So the kind of old rock and roll sounds, you stick a mic on the front of an amp, don't do much to it, sounds great.
Yep.
Every metal tone I hear is pretty much brutally EQ'd, compressed, maximised, all of those thick studio tricks.
Interesting.
by the time it's recorded.
Right.
I think that's why we have such a tough time recording them, because they are so heavily. I've been to my fair share of metal tracking sessions, and the amount of work that gets done on the guitar sounds is
Really?
massive.
Wow.
Absolutely massive. Even down to things like not tracking whole chords together in the old Mutt Lang way, because you can't get the dissonance in the gain
Right.
frequencies between notes, right? So you've got to track chords separately,
Yeah, okay.
2 notes at a
yes,
time.
of course, because
Yeah.
you have all the harmonic interplay between the
See, now that is one aspect of high gain sound that I would like to explore.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, he's
about the amount of work required to get it right.
Sure, and he's the guy for that.
Yep.
Okay. Brilliant.
Okay, we're back. The camera just overheated, and I think we were really bright on the exposure because it's getting brighter.
Also, there was a man running in jeans.
Running, actually, what?
He was running in jeans.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I've got
something must have
Achilles
happened.
tendonitis.
Do you?
Really annoying. I thought it was plantar fasciitis, which is the bottom of
Course.
your foot, but it's actually Achilles tendonitis.
So what do you do about that?
Stretch, and then I may have to have shock therapy.
Ah!
Oh, it suddenly feels so much better. Yeah, I had to go and see a podiatrist called Demelza.
Somewhere.
Yeah, you don't watch Poldark, do you?
No.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Is there a Demelza in Poldark?
Mm.
I've never heard the name before.
Yeah. You don't watch Poldark? Who doesn't watch Poldark?
I don't need my wife watching that stuff.
Right, where did
She
we
has
get
all
to?
this at home.
Where did we get to? Did we do XX
No, we didn't,
non-stop
no.
dancing XX? So XX non-stop dancing XX, you sound awesome. So you're playing live in a 4 to 5 person band, and one of you wants to add an acoustic type tone. What's the best option? It definitely isn't a simulator, yeah, I would agree. I'm not convinced it's an acoustic guitar though. It always gets lost, maybe the gain structure within the mix. I don't know. I've had great success doing it with a Strat in position 2 with a tone rolled off. Any thoughts?
The acoustic guitars in bands, because I used to do this a lot my first big gig I got playing with Max Sharam in Australia. I would have an acoustic guitar on a stand, and I'd be going between the two, like this. And because a lot of her songs would go from heavy to this stuff. And it took so long to get it right.
And you thought, what I would rather have artistic integrity than dignity, is what you thought. That was your thought process.
That was. I just wanted to have the gig. I was just very happy to have the gig.
God.
And it all came down to getting the right guitar.
Yeah.
We tried everything, and then one day I found this old Takamine thing and didn't have to do anything to it, plugged it in, and it just worked. I think, for me, if the guitar isn't right to start with, it's going to be very, very difficult
Yeah.
to affect it in a way that's going to make it work.
Depends on the band as well, doesn't it? If you listen to a lot of live acoustic guitars in a rock band scenario, it's nearly all percussive treble.
Oh, it's yeah.
There's
there
no
you go.
bass in it.
Yeah.
So when you say about position 2 and rolling off the tone, I mean, that's the opposite of an acoustic guitar sound. Acoustic guitar sound is all presence and treble.
Depending on their capacitive value.
Yeah, but even then you just get the loss of high end, wouldn't you? Whereas traditional acoustic guitar sound is all about presence of the percussive nature of those high strings.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. Very tricky. Very tricky.
Yeah. Again, though, I think the principles stand. EQ, not too much bottom end. So finding a particular place that it's not killing everything else, not that it's not fighting with everything else. And of course, with acoustic guitar, then you're into cymbals territory. You're into lots of treble frequencies.
Yeah, of course.
In order for that percussive nature of it to come through.
Mm-hmm.
And in a rock band, in a loud rock band, if you're talking about finger picking or anything with any sort of dynamic, it's very difficult, isn't it?
I used to, when I did the, so Doug and I were in an acoustic duo called Bipolar Bears. And we were, I struggled with that, even just struggling with the acoustic guitar getting over the drums. And I used to put an overdrive pedal on it. I used to just put a blues driver on it. And it it would give you that level of compression, and yeah, just a hint of drive on it, so you could get that base level, but you could dig in and break up a little bit, but then it would still, sort of compress. It was that worked well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe more acoustic guitar shows if they weren't our worst viewed shows ever.
Someone commented on that yesterday about the singing.
Oh yeah.
So about the songs. I didn't know you guys can sing. I didn't know Dan had a frequency in his voice.
Frankie boy, guys, I've got an idea. After 13 years, Tool release a new album. Actually, I was listening to Tool this week. They've released some stuff on iTunes for the first time ever.
Wow. I used to like those boys.
Wouldn't that be a reason enough for Adam Jones to special edition, the amps and effects he uses?
Yeah, it absolutely would. Look, we have an open door policy. If there are artists who are around and we can make it work, absolutely. So I'm assuming that you know Adam. Please tell him to get in touch.
Yes. Conversely, if you're asking for us to do a show that goes, this is Adam Jones of Tool, and we're going to show you how he sounds with guitars and amps and effects, and him not actually be there, we're not really into that. Sounds like it's not really our thing.
No.
Because we think it's largely futile.
Yes.
If we're honest. To quote the old chestnut, David Gilmour would sound like David Gilmour no matter what gear he used. Not entirely true, but we can't sound like David Gilmour no matter what gear we use.
Very good.
Isn't it?
That's very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's all in the fingers. Listen to my fingers. Listen to them. Listen to them. Listen to that tone. Listen to the tone.
Edward Boslopper says, this has been an incredible episode. So many good ideas. One question. With the Boss EQ pedal, is it after the gain and before the modulation? Yes. When we're doing... when we're shaping the EQ like that, putting the EQ after the gain means it won't mess with the gain structure.
Yep.
And that's really important, because if we had the EQ pedal before, it's having less of an effect. It's more about it changing the interaction between the output of the guitar and the input to those gain stages, which can be really cool in certain situations, but for what we're doing with the EQ pedal, it has to be post gain. Very important.
Sun's coming out, Dan. Might have to go for another stop.
Better?
Yeah, okay. Couple more questions. Rick Mason. Hi guys, love this subject. Don't understand Dan's theory on the underdrive thing. Surely you could do the same with any pedal after a gain stage just by lowering the volume on that pedal, or by having a volume pedal mid-signal chain. I've done both and they both work well. This seems complicated, or am I missing something? I'm presuming you didn't carry on watching, because we answer both of those questions in the...
Yeah, so the idea with the underdrive pedal is that we're keeping majority of the...
Sun. Keep going.
We're keeping majority of the treble the same, so that you're not experiencing... if it was just a volume change, everything changes the same. But with the underdrive pedal, we were changing all the EQs, but we were keeping the treble where it was. So what would happen is the lower end frequencies would come down, but you still get the percussive content of the treble stays where it is, so you don't immediately feel like the guitars are just lowering in the mix, and that's freeing up a bit more space for where the vocals to sit. And it was just a slight thing, but it's that live production thing just to help things sit a little bit better. When we get to the chorus, kick it off and everything comes back up. But yeah, it wasn't about just lowering everything. It's about keeping those treble frequencies and just dipping down the other stuff.
Yes, it's about EQ, not volume.
There you go.
Well, it's about EQ and volume.
I could have just said that.
It's not just about volume.
It's very true. I wanted to... Normally, we take a sarcastic dig at some trolling, lovely people. And I thought, well, this week I don't really want to shine the light on those, because I had so many great comments. And I thought, we'll just finish on a couple of those, because we really appreciate you guys taking the time to
say nice things. Let's focus on the nice things.
Yeah.
We do it as part of therapy, actually, because some of the comments do hurt, but actually all we're doing there is just we're falling to that level, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're just
I don't
we're
want-
adding negativity to negativity, and it's just an ego thing to poke fun at it.
Yeah.
Whereas we should just
Rise above.
higher plane down.
Higher plane.
Yeah.
I like it. Guitar Talk Unedited said, as I've commented before, I've waited for this from you guys for ages. Rhythm guitar tone is most important. Also, I've just got back from the hospital as my first daughter, Eleanor, has just been born, and she agreed with everything you said in the video. Jim from Leeds. Congratulations, Jim.
Yeah, well done, Jim.
Well done, mate. That's
And
awesome.
Mrs. Jim.
And Mrs. Jim. Yeah, congratulations, guys. That's great.
Yeah.
And then Zane Wells, I love this. He said, "You boys make me want to play guitar."
Best comment ever.
Best comment. And then Jay Yelton replied with, "These guys made me want to learn, and it's now been a year and a half." That's awesome, Jay. Well done, mate, and hope you're enjoying the journey. And it is a journey, but that's so cool.
Speaking of journeys, Dan, here's a great link to driving off. We should be on TV. Okay, thanks for watching. Thanks to our preferred retailers. Thanks to all the other things that happen, especially you guys on Patreon. What else do we say thanks for? Please go to the TPS store. The backing track that we talked about is available for sale. We're going to make all our backing tracks available for sale on the TPS store as downloads. Patrons get them free for a limited time. Or there's a limited window of availability where you can get it for free and keep it forever. So that's just something to throw out there as well.
Lovely. Brilliant, guys. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Bye.